And so I recognized this would likely be the major invasion route of the United States. And so I just started spending a great deal of time down there. I got to know many of the Embera Indians and Kuna Indians and others down in the jungle. And I started mapping out the pathways that they're coming in, getting to know members of the government and that sort of thing. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people have no idea who I am, but I've spent most of my life downrange out overseas. I am an American, born and raised, was in the U.S. Army, that sort of thing. And but most of my life has been downrange. For I would say 2/3 of my life has been in Middle East, Asia, deep. And I spent a year in and around China. I've written 3 books on Chinese information war that are only in Japanese, actually, because I've been working to wake up Japan for years. So in other words, I'm not coming into this flat-footed. I'm not coming into this as somebody who looks at a map and thinks, hey, this might be the route. I'm looking at this as someone who has traveled in about 100 countries or lived in so many countries. And so I realized these would be the routes, likely the routes. So often when you see me leave Panama, I actually go to another vital terrain, which is Netherlands, right? And I was there with Eva Vlardingerbroek and that sort of thing, whom you know. And so bottom line is there's a lot more going on here than just the invasion. Obviously, the invasion is a kill shot to the United States. Now, anybody that can get their feet anywhere into South America, which is pretty much most of the world at this point, they can get to the United States very quickly. And they can do this through the Darien Gap. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people ask, well, why don't they just fly to the United States? Many people do, actually. Many people come on student visas and that sort of thing. And anybody that can actually land closer, like many of the Chinese will actually fly to Mexico first. Some will go to Cancun and go on vacation first. And if they can get a visa to Mexico, they'll go to like Cancun and they'll meet their, what they call snakeheads in Mandarin is what we call coyotes. The Chinese call them snakeheads. They'll meet up with their snakeheads in Cancun or Mexico City or Tapachula. And then they had to cross up to, Texas and whatnot, Yuma, all these sorts of things. And by the way, I've been across the entire U.S. border from SpaceX all the way to San Diego, quite a lot, and on the Mexican side also quite a lot. But I've been across the entire U.S. border. So now many of the actually Chinese will come through the northern border, as do others. But back to Darien. So they don't all go through Darien. Many actually use what's called the CBP-1 app. It's an application that they can use to fill out this form and get on flights and fly straight from Bogota to the United States. Or they fly from Guatemala to the United States. I was just over in Guatemala checking that out, actually. And so many people do fly in. The U.S. is flying them in 24/7, but not everybody can do that. So now we have maybe 3,000 a day coming in. The number is constantly changing, but we know the number quarter over quarter is increasing coming through the Darien Gap because more infrastructure is being put in, so it's facilitating it. And the main funder, by the way, is the United States. It's the United States.